Land, but it is going to be Shun with the Hecarim. The pretty pony has not been seen for a little bit of a time. Definitely took some big old hits with the nerf hammer a while ago.
So it was like however long it was, right? 4 or 5 patches ago, maybe even less. Like there are so many games in the LPL where he got a bunch of consistent nerfs to things like his sustain, his armor. But since then, he's gotten a buff almost every patch to things like his AD damage, his AD scaling. This patch, he got a slight buff to his base armor and the AD ratio on his Q. So Riot really trying to push the identity of Hecarim into being an AD brawler style champion, and so like we've been seeing him pick up Divine Sunder quite a little bit, but I still not a huge fan of the way that Hecarim plays out being built full AD, because a lot of times you can still see him just go in and instantly get bursted out. I know a lot of pro players have still kind of steered clear of the champion, but now we get to see IG's take on him, especially when you have an enchanter in what we presume to be the mid lane. Karma still can go top, but I would expect Rookie to be taking this one, enabling Shun to once again pick up potentially another MVP.
Yeah, and again, we'll see now what the side of Ultra Prime want to do. They do want to put in ShiauC onto the Ryze, something he was very comfortable with in the LDL last split, and we'll see if he's able to make anything happen for Ultra Prime this time around. Going through the bans now, we can see the Kalista, the Jinx. I'm liking these bans coming out from Ultra Prime. They're recognizing that with the Karma, they're going to be trying to maybe enable either Puff or Neny to try and carry this one, or even Shun, as you say. And they're just taking away all those extra options.
And now for Ultra Prime, you would expect them to bring out a support pick here. They did take away a lot of the engaged champions off the board. Against Thresh, we do still have certain engaged champions if you want to go towards the likes of Irma, which we've seen time and time again. The Rakan could possibly come out, but I don't think I'd like that very much into what IG have drafted or into that 2v2 dynamic at all. So my eyes kind of quickly go towards things like Alistar Rel if Ultra Prime wanted to opt into that. But instead just going to blind pick their top laner. They say, hey, we don't care, Gwen's available, we have an AD jungler, we're going to go towards this. And Puff going to bring out, I'd say, his next favorite champion next to the VODS that we saw last time around, being the Aphelios. This was something Puff loved in 2020 and even pulled out in 2021.
Yep, something that he is pretty damn prolific with. And we have the Camille going into the Gwen. I like this for neny. Neny has been one of the standout performances for Invictus Gaming, and I feel like giving him a lane where he can go toe-to-toe, or scissor to scissor, if you will, against the Gwen is going to be a very, very interesting matchup.
Do it. Do it. I don't care about hovers or anything like that. We know ShiauC plays as champion. I would love to see him do it. And he does it. We get the Blitzcrank coming out. I think ShiauC and Cold are the two players off the top of my head that actually do play the Blitzcrank actively and are willing to pull it out into things like the Thresh. So Puff and Balan are going to be feeling a lot of pressure down on that bottom side. We wouldn't be surprised to see Hacker and ShiauC linking up with them down there. We know for the side of IG, it's all top side oriented. Rookie and Shun are going to be the combo this time around. Once again, it seems like the staple for IG this split. And then Camille versus Gwen is something we've seen a little bit of. We've seen Gwen actually be able to do quite good into it in the laning phase from like the limited sample size that we have. But Camille still scales up to be quite a bit of a monster. He's going to be pairing up with Shun to be able to jump straight in onto the back line, and then looking if you can delete either ShiauC and Smlz right away.
I'm loving both these compositions now coming in. Ultra Prime giving themselves as much agency as they need. Obviously having the Karma on the other side of the foot, or the side of the matchup, I should say, as IG now try to make that one work for themselves. And this is kind of the interesting thing when it comes to Karma. You talk about sample sizes, like Karma's been kind of very, very high on the ban list throughout pretty much all the major regions, and very few times we actually see it being picked. So I'm curious to see now how this one works out for the side of Invictus Gaming, and if it is as powerful as everyone thinks it is coming into this, you know, kind of the next patch as such of 11-12.
Yeah, I'm so interested to see how Shun plays on this Hecarim and the style IG go for, because you have this top side that really wants to run in, dive enemy backline, Karma enabling the Hecarim and the Camille, but then you have this bottom lane that wants to play very far back. You will always have the Thresh at least able to peel for the Aphelios, but when you have to worry things like Blitzcrank hooks, we could see Realm Warp plays coming in from ShiauC to put Hacker and ZS in range to be able to get on the Aphelios. that I'm not quite sure how to work out. I still do like a lot what IG have put together, and it's, you know, a new take on things. We said, hey, this is a team that needs to change something. It isn't working out the way they'd hope if they do want to be a title contender in LPL this split, and they are definitely bringing on some big changes.
Crowd getting very, very hyped. You can see all the IG faithful, of course, massive support for one of the biggest and oldest clubs we have, or teams, if you will, in the LPL, and of course being the first to bring China that elusive world championship at the time was just absolutely fantastic for them and the region. And of course the fans very much want to see them back on the world stage. I think we all do. I think Rookie, if with the bare minimum, Rookie deserves it, but we'll see how it all kind of goes about it, because right now it's going to be blue buff starts for both of the junglers. And for ShiauC, I like the Blitzcrank pick a lot for him, and the reason why I like it is that it has the same kind of style of what Leona does, without the added danger, if you will, because you don't go on top of them, they come back onto you if you're able to get the hook off. So able to do a little bit more with that, should he be able to find those opportunities. And I want to see now what he can make use with this Blitzcrank. I'm actually going with the Guardian instead of the Aftershock, so definitely a little bit more lane orientated.
Yeah, and right, we know Blitzcrank is a champion as good as you are able to mechanically hit your hooks. If you can land hooks on Puff and Balan, going to work wonders. Also to note that we did see Shun start up towards the top side, neny being able to leash for him because he doesn't want to contest the wave level 1 up against ZS regardless. We saw that. Did go for an early trade, lost out quite a bit. And now we're going to see them most likely go for opposite scuttles. Rookie going to start hovering down towards the bottom side of the map, and it's going to give Puff and Balan at least a decent amount of security early on.
You see the power of the Karma, being able to use those mantra tethers to be able to increase the range, and of course get a bit of healing back off it as well. And with both junglers now on their respective red buffs, we might see them pretty much just like, and they might hover towards, but I'm looking at the two sides, like, you know, the Hecarim for IG, there's a big push here for the Aphelios Thresh, so not really easy for him to get much going for there, and the same in the exact same opposite side of the map for Ultra Prime. Not really much they can do against the Camille when she's pushed up against her turret so far, so both teams just going to be farming up, picking up their camps, maybe looking to maybe go for something in mid, as Rookie immediately flashes away, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He is going to be taken down, first blood by Hacker, and you can see Rookie, he knew he had to get out, but he just wasn't far enough away.
I mean, that buffed Xin Zhao W range is always going to hit differently, and now Shun waiting in the wings because Rookie does have his TP.
Rookie is going to TP back in on top of this. We're going to see the charge coming down. They want to try and donate this one over, but no, it's going to be Shun taking that one. And they will end up trading back that kill. Little bit greedy there from ShiauC. Should have just kind of taken his win, backed himself away. Should have known that at either top or bot, the Hecarim was going to be around.
Yeah, and I mean, they knew he was on the bottom side of the map as well, just because of the way that Hacker's path went and not seeing him around that top side. But nice that Shun got the kill. We highlighted how he is going to be building full AD. We expect the Divine Sunder to be what comes out first, typically paired into the Sterix Gauge. So he's already making his way towards that. And yeah, nothing really lost on the side of IG. Same with for Ultra Prime, to where ShiauC going to be able to get back to lane just fine. So I feel like the fact that there hasn't been a lot of volatility early on favors IG's composition coming in. You have the Aphelios, you have the Camille, you have an Enchanter in the mid lane like Karma. So I think in the late game, it's actually going to feel really good as IG. The kind of X factor is always going to be Gwen, as ZS already being a bit of an X factor by preventing neny to recall. And Shun just going to go right back to clearing. Hecarim's clear actually still surprisingly good, as we saw in full clear. I think he finished it up around like 313 or 312, something like that. So still about the time of that Scuttle Crab spawn. And he's going to feel good to just keep getting items under his belt, while Hacker will probably look towards the mid lane once again, since Rookie doesn't have flash.
And they are going to maybe hover towards this bot side. Haven't quite got the Realm Warp, so it would be a ultimateless gank, as both Hacker and ShiauC kind of hover around there, waiting for the Blast Cone. It's going to be about 10 or 12 seconds away before that one gets open. I think there was a little early for that one, unfortunately, from the side of Ultra Prime, which means the backup there from Invictus Gaming keeps them safe. They do not lose that much in terms of the turret, and they're going to be able to pick up these waves pretty damn easily.
Yeah, and even Rookie covering, realizing, hey, I mean, they saw Ultra Prime's mid-jungle hover towards bot lane, so they know where they're looking towards. Hacker going to use this window to pick up the dragon. This should be pretty free for them because of that first window pulling Rookie away from lane. Gives ShiauC about another window where he's able to push out mid first, and Rookie now has to answer. So Shun instead going to opt into just clearing his camp, so at least does have a little bit of a lead in terms of gold. And I mean, this time around, a very different game from game one, where Hacker was all over the map early on. We saw 2v2 kills in bot lane. There was a lot of action pulsing back and forth, to where IG, I think, are playing a very respectful game, and Hacker not able to find the same amount of influence this time around, with the fact that ZS is pushing in his wave on his own and winning that matchup regardless. He has tried to link up with mid twice, but wasn't able to find anything. And bottom lane's, I think, been the surprisingly quiet lane coming out, despite the fact that we had ShiauC bringing out the Blitzcrank.
See what they want to do.
Ooh.
We see now Shun into this mid lane. Does not want to fully commit to it. They didn't really know where Hacker was, and they maybe thought that ShiauC was playing a little bit too confidently and leaning towards that bot side. It would have been a bad situation for them, and end up backing away from the play. So they don't really gain anything from it. They don't lose anything from it either. And it's just going to be Hecarim going back to farming his jungle, getting up to level 6, so he has that onslaught of shadows available.
Yeah, I think you're on the money with that call, right? He's hovering towards bot side. His bottom lane is pushing out, maybe assuming Hacker can be waiting in the wings. Don't want to overcommit for a play like that. Instead, just going to make his way working up to level 6, because Hacker, since he was just clearing his camps during that time, has hit level 6 already. And we're going to come back to the top lane, where ZS is absolutely demolishing in this matchup. It's something we hit on a little bit before that. I mean, Gwen in lane, I feel like even like Viego in lane, into melee matchups, these champions just feel so oppressive, from like the sustain, their low cooldowns on key abilities, the ranges that they have.
Damage.
Yeah, there's just like so many things to highlight with, we'll say Gwen specifically now, but Shun's still going to look for it.
Shun is going to still look for it. There is no flash here for ZS, and with the onslaught of shadows being popped down, Hextech ultimatum, and that's going to be a nice donation to the Nene Camille top lane fund. And that's a nice little combination there, and I really do like the fact that, you know, you see the power you have with this Hecarim, with the Ghost, just able to just kind of don't care about vision. I can just run at you. You do not have flash.
It brings me back to the famous combination, as I'm going to pause, because Ultra Prime, they could look for a top gank, or they might just do Herald, but it brings me back to the famous combo of Sejuani Camille, because one of the really cool things about that combo, right, is that Sejuani can go for a lane gank, because Camille can just open up with the Hextech ultimatum, Sejuani combos in, throws down her ultimate, and typically between those two abilities, it's enough CC to keep them locked down. Hecarim, I'd say, very similar with the fact that you bring Ghost, whether it's through lane or from river, you typically show by the time you're already able to land CC if the enemy laner is even pushed up to a neutral point on the wave.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be that far up. You can just take it away. But speaking of taking away, Ultra Prime have been able to take away the Rift Herald, as we now see Shun and Baolan kind of comboing up around the Dragon Pit. See if they can garner any kind of advantage while they know that the Xin Zhao is on the top side. And this is a little bit dangerous for Baolan. He does not want to be get hooked right now. Has got the Moby Boots to match the Moby Boots of ShiauC, so not really that afraid in terms of the movement speed. And this bot lane has just kind of been PvE for both Smlz and for Puff. They've just been pushing in, getting minions, and then pushing back out.
I think as Smlz and Puff, you're happy for different reasons, right? Smlz will definitely come online first. After Divine Sunder, you're already a really strong champion. Once you also get the mana immune on top of it, is when you are at your peak. And for Puff, I mean, Aphelios is still the same, you know, Mr. 200 years, still being that really strong champion at 3 items. So, you know, the fact that nothing is going on, I think both of them feel fine. It's about who's finding advantages elsewhere on the map. And so far, IG might have more kills, but Ultra Prime have been the ones winning in CS, picking up the Herald, and building up that slight gold advantage to try and be able to snowball off of.
Well, Shun is here. Does not have Ghost, but doesn't need it. If you land a hook like that, knock him back. They're going to donate that over to the Aphelios. A lot of donations today. Shun feeling very, very generous with his gold, and these are just nice little plays from Shun. Honestly, he's been doing what Hacker did in the first game. He's been around the map. He's been proactive in making plays.
And despite the fact that, right, Hecarim did receive a lot of changes, and like even things to like Chem Tank and all that, you still will always have the benefit of running Ghost, to where you're just so easily able to make these plays before the enemy is able to react. An added benefit of how this bot lane has been going is the fact that Puff has vision, so shouldn't go down to this play. Looks like Hackers still might want to drop Herald bot, but at the last second is going to change his mind, and it looks like they are just positioning towards his Herald. So IG trying to split map and answer on the opposite side, but ZS ain't going to fall for it.
No, it looks like they don't want to go for the Dragon switch either, but as I say that though, Shun does end up kind of roaming back up towards that top side, gonna go for another clear of his jungle camps. That's going to be 2 dragons in the back pocket for the side of Ultra Prime, as we wait to see what kind of soul they will be getting. It's going to be an Ocean Soul, so nice little pickup here for either side, really, making it very difficult to burst out as we get later into the game. But neny might be a little bit too far forward. Has got the hook shot available to him, but Ignite here for ZS means that this might be a little bit of a bad trade. Yeah, underneath the tower, he takes a couple of shots as well, so you can see them just kind of waiting to see if neny was had any friends with him, and ZS comes out and says, no, I'm still as oppressive as ever, while Rift Herald is being dropped in the bot lane.
Yeah, also interesting to note that ZS actually starting with the Seeker's Arm Guard. Oh.
Yeah,
nope.
We saw a little bit of engage, but nope. As you were saying, Seeker's Arm Guard.
Yeah, Seeker's Arm Guard coming out for ZS, so paying a lot of respect towards Shun and neny on the top half of the map. I mean, IG are very much in the same hole that Ultra Prime were in last time around, where your comp is pretty much all AD. The difference is they have a ton of scaling. Is, you know, nice dodge out by Smlz, does have the Arcane Shift up, but yeah, I feel like one difference with IG's comp, right? You have an Aphelios, you have a Camille, you're going to be able to have a lot of good amount of late game damage once you start picking up those armor pen items, even if Hacker and ZS do opt into, you know, building heavy armor.
We have the Kraken Slayer right now for Puff, so he's already well on his way to becoming a tank shredder, and is only about a 200 gold, maybe 300 gold lead in favor of Ultra Prime. Again, nothing too crazy for them to really kind of be pushing forward with, but for Puff, should be able to trade back some of these plates that he lost in his own tower, and picks them up solo, which is nice for him. ShiauC going to use the Hex Flash over the wall, and maybe use him. Oh, nice pull. He's caught. He's dead. ShiauC gets himself a kill. Baolan not really in a position to help him. You can see just a little bit too far away with the Dark Passage.
And Puff tried to sidestep, ended up hook it anyway, so a bit disappointing to come out for the side of IG. We finally see this Blitzcrank pay off in a certain way, and now IG, with the play going down towards spots that are going to try and react on the top half of the map, punish ZS, at least get more plate gold onto neny and trying to deny some farm from ZS, but we're going to see if IG are able to find anything.
Ooh, they're going to go in with the Onslaught of Shadows and knock him back. Does he have the Hextech Ultimatum? Yes, he does. He's not quite able to bring it underneath the turret. And that is going to be Shun picking up his second kill of the game. Nicely done there by IG, but while that's been happening, ShiauC, I actually feel like if he had taken that Hex Flash, he would have been in a better situation, but grabs the minion for his trouble, and now realizes he's on the other side of this wall. Puff is there with the Crescendum and of course the Severum, so needs to be a little bit careful there, ShiauC, but 4 people in this mid lane, don't think there's much else they can go for.
Do you remember when Aphelios first came out, how like hard it was to remember and learn all the guns? I heard it in your voice right there, Penguin. It was a time.
A little bit.
We're gonna see right there, right? Puff tried to sidestep, did start walking upwards, but in the end, the hook still does land. Blitzcrank Q hitbox is always something to behold, but Balan not in range to give the Lantern. I don't think it would have mattered regardless. Looks like he was pretty much just bursted out in one go for the side of Ultra Prime. And now we still see they are in a position where they are leading in gold. Both of their soul laners are up from what we can see. Even Smlz up at this point after being able to get the bottom lane turret. So across the board, all carries are up for the side of Ultra Prime. It's really only Shun being the one to anchor the gold advantage for the side of IG.
Yeah, it's Shun kind of carrying the weight of the gold for his team. They are going to use that little bit of power in the jungle to be able to go for this Rift Heralds for the first real global objective here now for the side of Invictus Gaming, as Pink Ward was popped over the side of the pit. See if Smlz feels like he might want to go for a little bit of a cheeky steal. Might actually feel it, but they know he's there, so I think the Smite Secure should be pretty easy. Yep, just a cheeky little True Shot barrage over the side, but 40 seconds or 45 seconds now until this Ocean Drake does spawn, and this could be a moment here for the side of IG. They've got some good first items picked up. They've got themselves some pretty much all of their summoners except for Puff's Flash. They might feel like they're in a little bit of a stronger position coming into this fight.
Yeah, and you know, we do see Ultra Prime playing the map game though, because during that time when IG were taking Herald, ShiauC just played down in the bottom half of the map. He's denied 2 waves from the side of IG. His one advantage, Ultra Prime, is, ooh, that hook was really close. As Ultra Prime can play that 1-3-1, right? You have the Gwen, you have the Ryze, to where Karma not going to want to sit in the side lane. You are building full on supportive. You wouldn't really want to sit in the side lane regardless, but even less so now. We're going to see Rookie constantly group up with the team. They are going to be able to pick up the Dragon, and Ultra Prime going to try to punish neny in the top side of the map, but he's gone.
Yeah, he's already out. He's already out E5000 right now, and that's going to be the Dragon. He's out. He's not going to get hit out by like that. I have full faith in the Camille without Flash, and that's going to be the Dragon picked up here for Invictus Gaming. And we'll trade it, though, for a turret in that top side, as ZS just has full control with the Blitzcrank and Zhao. But Shun in this mid lane might look to try and go for something. Probably would have, but ShiauC was already there, so they didn't want to risk anything too crazy just in case it all went a bit awry. So right now, trade of gold for a trade of a Dragon. I think if you're IG, you're relatively okay with that. And out of nowhere, actually, just looking at it now, it's about that 2,000 gold lead here for Ultra Prime. And that's going to be trying to be equaled out now by the side of IG. They do drop the Rift Herald. They're trying to see if they can just take down this turret. They will get the bop off, but they won't get the full damage down. So it's still that 2,000 gold. And, you know, we mentioned the waves down on bot side that were being pushed in there by ShiauC really is hurting them a little bit, as we can see. Maybe the side of IG go for something a little bit cheeky. There is a flash for ShiauC, as we do have the Moonlight Vision being popped off, and a flash in. There's the grab at Tummins, and oh! It's all just a big bait. You cannot go chicken with a Blitzcrank. He just wins.
I just always love seeing 2 hook champions hook each other. It is a great interaction. ShiauC's hook is up again, but Puff does get away. But I like that you highlighted the bottom wave, right? Because when we're talking about gold, I feel like we're going to see IG just consistently fall behind until they find a big play, because we've seen not only Rookie, but Rookie and neny consistently drop waves on sides of the map. And even now, that's what, like the 4th wave they've lost on the bottom side. So just more of a gold lead that's building up for Ultra Prime. While they are catching all waves, they are farming their jungle camps, and they are just gaining those small advantages. So Ultra Prime very comfortably playing out with their 1-3-1 style. We also see ShiauC consistently roaming, so he knows he's not necessarily looking to hit turret. He is denying IG enough with those waves that he just needs to make sure he's able to react when IG do look to force mid, because that's what they're going to constantly be looking to do.
Baolan looking to see if he could maybe get ShiauC walking forward just a little bit, but there was a ward on top of his head, so full vision there for the Rookie mid laner. As this game starts to crest up to 20 minutes, we will have a Dragon spawning in 2.5. And as we look down the line of kind of items, Double Divine Sunderer has been picked up here for IG on top of the Camille. Oh, we're going to have to see the Onslaught of Shadows used here by Shun. Might have to use it just to get himself out. Yes, he will use it. There's the Realm Warp going to be used as well. But is it just a little bit too far forward as ShiauC gets slapped in the face with a hell of a lot of different abilities, and a TP committed here by ZS. So looks like Ultra Prime definitely feeling like a little bit more in control of taking that fight, but they don't really gain anything out of it.
No, still though, you do get summoners out from both Baolan and Shun. I guess Shun shouldn't be a big deal, right? Ghosts on a shorter cooldown than something like the Flash, but Ultra Prime going to turn this into a turret. ShiauC still doing a nice job of looking for these hooks, and we already see Ultra Prime defaulting back to their 1-3-1 setup. ShiauC pushing in that bottom wave before he looks for the back, and now ZS going to be up towards top lane in time to answer this. So we finally start to see mythics out across the board for everyone. We're working our way towards second items, and Dragon not going to be up for another 1 minute and 30 seconds, but I feel like that's where we're going to see a lot of Ultra Prime's map setup come into play if they can keep pushing these side waves, and if IG by then are able to find some sort of picks as they're looking for now with Shun.
Yeah, looking for Sean, but it has got Hacker and Smlz here. There's the Hextech ultimatum down on top of the ZS top laner, and he will fall. TP advantage now for the side of IG as they're able to pull Rookie up here. There's the engage flash in from Hacker, but they have got the hook available. Not quite able to land it just yet. ShiauC now going to land it on top of someone else as they look to try and keep this fight one going. It's so low for neny on this Camille. He keeps himself alive, but important to recognize, ShiauC was not there, and therefore with Rookie coming in first, they were able to keep everyone alive with the Karma.
It's also so strange, right? Because you can see ZS still playing so aggressively forward because he knows he has two members on the way, but that coordination once again is IG really going to try and go for this. They do have great guns on Aphelios for this kind of play.
I was just about to say, you've got fantastic guns here on the Aphelios to be able to try and rip this one. ShiauC tries to grab someone, but he's just going to fall. That's going to be neny picking up a kill. And now neny's got himself a flank position. You can see it. He's full health. He doesn't care. He's just in a position to be able to go for something there. The box down just in case you caught any fish. But that is going to be Baron taken now for IG. And out of nowhere, they've just found themselves a couple of kills and a Baron.
And I just find it hilarious that IG are still behind in gold. After winning that fight, after taking Baron, IG are still behind. You do expect IG to be able to catch up now that they do have this Baron. They're going to make their way towards the Dragon to be able to pick that one up. But, right, you can see here, ZS is looking for this because he knows that he has Zhao and Ezreal on the way. But he gets just deleted so early on by neny and Shun. Then Ultra Prime in a really awkward position because Rookie is able to get here first. Really nice Mantra E coming out so Hacker isn't able to take down neny. And then he still goes in. Really surprising, still not able to go down. The other members of IG buying a lot of space for him. And now we're going to start seeing if they can break down some of these towers. neny should be able to take that one in the bottom side of the map. You're going to be able to get some vision on that quadrant as well, pick up this dragon. And right now, Ultra Prime are deciding to just get more gold onto ShiauC on the top side, deny more waves, and get some deep vision down around there. But I don't know if you want to be looking for these sort of plays when neny's pushing with the Baron buff.
Yeah, he's pushing off. He has not got TP, so he would not be able to move into his team's vicinity. But you see ShiauC on the top side trying to push that one in. I don't know if that's the right play. You don't have a great amount of wave clear here with the Ezreal by himself, so you might end up losing two turrets here unless ShiauC can find a hook.
And he's going to go for it. Ooh!
Not quite. Close, but no cigar, just like Graves. As we now see that
really
they've moved everyone towards... Yeah, really trying to move that forward, but now neny might be in a little bit of trouble as everyone just kind of realm morphs in. They're going to try and see if they can get him. Yep, deleted from the map. Nothing the Dark Passage can do, but you're spreading this side of the Ultra Prime around so thinly that it does mean that these towers are going to fall pretty quickly if you're just not at them, you know, as a four-man squad.
Still though, right? Ultra Prime made the correct decision. Whenever a team's 4-1 pushing on you like that, you got to make a commitment to attacking one side of the play with more numbers, so either a 5-man on the 4 or a 2 or 3 on the 1. They go with it with the Realm Warp. Very nice play. neny nowhere close to any of his teammates. I think Balan maybe should be kind of waiting in the wings, hovering around the bottom side quadrant of the jungle after that first failed hook from ShiauC misses. But if ShiauC's still hovering around mid lane, I can understand why Balan would feel pressured to do that. So maybe it actually should be Shun looking to kind of be that bridge between mid and bot, making sure neny can look for that play safely, and then maybe if someone like Shun is there, then at least you have 2 members strong. You can delay the fight long enough to bring in more members. But that's not what happened. Still, though, IG did pick up a bit of gold with the play. They still aren't up on gold in terms of catching up with Ultra Prime, but they've at least picked up a solid, 1,000 gold from the Baron.
Yeah, about 1,500, I'd say. Probably the same as you would get just from the Baron itself going down. But actually, a little item kind of thing I want to check on there. We can see Rookie picking up the Chemtech Putrefier, and I actually really, really like this item, especially when we see it on mid lane. Oh, I had to stop myself a little bit as neny. Oh, walks forward, walks back, knows that he's in a little bit of trouble and gets himself out of dodge. But back to my point, I really do love this item because, especially when you have mid lane karmas, in the meta right now, is that it means that the rest of your team does not have to pick up any kind of, grievous wounds items. You don't have to go towards those items. And yes, they're not terrible items anymore. They've done a lot of work with the, the items update towards Season 11 this year. But it just feels good as an Aphelios, as a Camille, to know that even if he wanted to, yes, he's got the Executioner's Calling in the Camille right now, but he doesn't have to keep that. He can move on to, a slightly tankier item, a slightly bigger item. But speaking of kind of items and stuff like that. It looks like it's going to be a lot of gold going in the back pocket of IG as they start pushing in. And this is kind of ShiauC about to saying, look, chicken, I can push as well. We can trade this, no problem at all. But you got to be careful if you're Ultra Prime. These turrets will get melted.
I mean, you could see Ultra Prime don't feel too confident in taking the 5v5s at this point, right? You are up against Puffs Aphelios, who's getting incredibly strong. You have all the shields coming out from Karma. You already highlighted at least the...
the hook. That was off the Gravitum lockdown, but that's Shun who dies. They're not able to get anything going. He's gone completely. ZS now might be able to make something going for him, but he's been taken very, very low. No, he goes golden before neny can kill him. And now we can see the flash in for Battleline, gets the play, but the Aphelios is down, and there's no more damage left. Rookie looking for something. He uses his Q to just try and slow down the onslaught. The TPs are coming in. You're going to see ZS TPing as well. They might look for the end right here, right now.
Yeah, and I honestly think they might be able to get it. Rookie should be able to get back to base, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to get back in time to match if ZS decides to use his TP as well. Looks like at the last second they decide not to go for TPing in ZS. They are just going to have Gwen push on the middle. Oh, God!
No damage, no problem.
That was a little bit unexpected with how much health ShiauC did have, but still, Ultra Prime are the team who are in control of the map right now. Now working their way all the way up to 3k gold, more items coming out. We have the Frozen Heart up for Smlz as well, which when you're up against a team that only has a support Karma as its AP source, I think Smlz is in such a great position. But we're gonna see Balan initially hit the hook after the Gravitum stun comes off, but we're also gonna see the squishiness of this Hecarim build, right? Hecarim isn't the same big tank that he used to be. This is why a lot of people still don't really like going towards him, because your play pattern puts you in harm's way. And then it's going to give Ultra Prime the one-up going into the fight. ZS still incredibly strong, Gwen an insane team fighter, and then the rest of IG are just left in such an awkward situation without even any semblance of a front line coming out from their side.
Well, it was definitely Ultra Prime with the Ascendance there, as they were able to pick up a couple of kills, but the inhibitor turret was broken, and you're still moving towards a soul point. Both teams on 2 dragons apiece. As we see now, Ultra Prime just starting this one up. There is a ward there. It is going to be just taken out just very, very quickly, as we can try and see now both junglers just trying to push in towards this one. ZS does use the mist to try and keep himself as healthy as possible. Shun has got the Onslaught of Shadows available just now, and they now know exactly where all the wards are. So do they go for the dragon to flash in? Hook does not land. Hook misses on the other side as well, as Hacker has to pop his ultimate to try and keep himself alive. But you can see there Shun might have to use the Onslaught of Shadows defensively. He does, but you can see neny on the back end just take out the jungler. A great Moonlight Vigil as well to try and just pepper down these health bars. The golden on the side of Ultra Prime means they are able to keep themselves alive, but it is Puff on this Aphelios, who's able to dish out so much. It's AD carry versus AD carry. The hooks are missing left, right, and center.
What's going on?
Smlz. Look at the damage. Look at the moves. He's gonna keep going for it. He's gonna try and keep pushing, but he goes down in the end. Puff picks up that kill. The dragon is still alive, but it's still a 2 for 2. The hook lands though on top of Shun, but there's just no damage to try and back up on top of this. He will stay alive, and they will chase down ShiauC for as long as he lives, and it won't be that much longer. They get the kills. 4 for 2. They can turn back onto the dragon, but this is dangerous. ZS is back in here. He's going to try and just take out this hook as best he can, but he cannot take him down before the dragon falls. And now ZS trying his very, very best, but you are not an Aphelios, my son, and you will not be able to take that. But now, with all these staggered death timers, they can turn to Baron.
It's so crazy. IG put their eggs in the Puff basket, and it actually pays off. Rookie on the Karma, shielding everyone so consistently. You could just never whittle these health bars down. And it didn't matter if there were some members going down, back, and forth. IG were able to pull out ahead with Aphelios being so strong. That fight was absolutely insane. It was all over the place.
That was an ordeal of a team fight right there.
That was awesome, Penguin. It was awesome.
But it was even like, you could just see the positioning there from Smlz and Puff. Everyone was just dodging out the hook. One hook from either Baolan or ShiauC lands, and that's a completely different fight. But let's have a look at how it goes, because actually Shun who gets caught out. There's the first hook missing, there's the second hook missing, and then you can see Shun has to get himself out because he's now, as you said, in danger's way.
Yeah, he's just not tanky enough. But neny finding the key engage to take down Hacker. He does end up going down for it as well, but ShiauC even low. And this is where things start going back and forth. And keep your eyes on the shields coming out from Rookie, right? Because they're pretty consistent. I love that we're seeing Puff aggressively walk forward to put down the damage. Smlz eing forward though. Big mistake, has to instantly burn Flash. Still able to take out Battleland in the end, but guess what? They're just waiting for more of Rookie shields to come up. Flashes forward, puts it down and gets the kill. And I just want to highlight, going back to the beginning of that fight, the reason why ShiauC flashed forward with the hook was because Puff actually had no flash. So if they could land that hook onto Puff there, it's just an instantly won fight for the side of Ultra Prime.
Yeah, like I said, one hook lands, and that's a very, very different situation for either side. As we can see, there's the Hex Flash over the wall. Does not land any kind of real damage there. As you can see, great guns for taking turrets here for Puff as a hook lands onto Hacker. But while this is all being pushed into the mid lane, we can see top side being laid under siege by neny and the bunch of minions he has brought forward. Hook misses again, and again, these are more zoning hooks than anything else, but the threat of it is more kind of useful as I say that though. It's actually ZS who tries to go in on top of neny, comes out the worst for wear. Middle inhibitor does fall, and now IG, they're looking to try and put the final nails in this coffin against Ultra Prime and take themselves a 2. Oh, there's the Moonlight Vigil, and oh, baby! That's a spicy meatball, and that's a double kill, triple kill. Maybe they even look for the quadra kill, and he might even go even further beyond quadra, maybe a penta. No, he has to go golden, otherwise he dies. Give it to him. You know you want it. Penta kill for Puff, and IG have got themselves the 2-0.
What a great game coming out from IG and Ultra Prime. We are seriously so blessed to be able to watch the LPL. Amazing team fights all over the place, mechanical outplays, mistakes coming out, cool engages. It was just the whole shebang this time around. Crazy to see IG put their eggs in the Puff basket and it actually pay off. Him on this Aphelios. Even some good camaraderie coming out from both sides. And yeah, was cool to see. We actually saw Rookie be able to be put on a facilitator, and despite the fact that this was Puff's game, Puff had his moment, he had the pentakill. The shields coming out for Rookie were insane. Shun anchored the early game, but man, pentakill for Puff. In his first game back on stage, his first game back onto IG, not first game, but first series, I'm sorry. And that, like, Puff has to feel ecstatic.
Honestly, that just feels so good as well, I'd say, for IG and in the justification of the swap as well. Like, you know, you're obviously trying to start off with Lucas and Wink at the start of the split. It wasn't really working out. We talked about how Rookie were on these facilitating champions and how he was looking towards the Gallios and the Karmas, and it wasn't really working out. This time around, though, with Puff, with Baolan, it definitely felt as if they had a little bit more gas in the tank. It felt as if they had a bit more agency to kind of justify putting Rookie on these supportive champions, and it paid dividends.
Man, I'm just still so giddy from that game. That game was so fun. It was so awesome to see. There were so many team fights all over the place. But yeah, it's cool. You know, obviously, you know, IG did have to struggle a little bit to beat a team like Ultra Prime. I feel like there can be some maybe even sort of negative takeaways there. But the point is, mechanically, IG are still beasts. They still know how to like play the way they want. We know that Nofe and the Shy will be out of quarantine decently soon, you know, according to IG on their own account. So we don't know if that'll shake anything up. But man, I just wonder, as IG, right? You got to keep Puff and Battleland in after this win, after the performance coming in from Puff. But at the same time, it's like, where do you go from here? I feel like there's still a lot of tough teams that IG need to show up against. It was cool to see them test things with the draft a little bit, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know if AD Hecarim was really the thing, or maybe just the way that ShiauC did pilot it this time around, where we really did see how squishy it was. But, you know, late game carries in Enchanter's mid lane maybe can be the flavor for IG. I like it.
I like it a lot, and I think for IG, you know, they've got a massive test coming up this weekend on Sunday. They've got to play against the undefeated, well, might not be undefeated if LNG decide to lose the TT tomorrow, but they go against LNG, and then you got LGD, then you got FBX. Like, these are a run of games that you could see IG picking up, like, apart from maybe the FBX game. Like, I could see a world where IG beat LNG. I see a world where IG beat LGD, and these are the kind of games that do make the difference towards the end of the split, when we are looking at playoff spots, when we are looking to see who's going to be the top teams going into that postseason. And for IG, good start for them here, kind of reset their season. It was a rough kind of after a great win over Suning, a kind of a rough little middle bit, and now they can kind of bring it back and look for a bit of momentum going into the rest of the week.
I also love that, both AD carries and top laners being the ones to try to step up to anchor their teams. Hitting on Ultra Prime a little bit, it's like, we're still seeing struggles with ShiauC coming into the LPL. I still feel like it's one of those things where you probably give him time. You probably want to give him the experience and keep him on stage. If they do decide to, go back to Irma, or at least keep trying, testing out both, I feel like that's kind of the worst situation out of anyone you decide, right? Either Irma or ShiauC, but... we actually don't get a lot of time to talk about Ultra Prime because our producers are telling us Puff is very clearly the MVP. I'm going to say that one's not a big shocker.
I mean, you get a pentakill, your name's Puff, the Pippa, the alliteration. It just feels good, it just feels nice to say. And honestly, a great thing to see for the side of IG, because like we said, the biggest problem they've had so far in the split has been the bot lane.
I also just loved watching this team fight. This seriously was the highlight of the game, just seeing how both teams are weaving in and out, dodging hooks, dodging skill shots. You have Smlz eating forward, realizing it's a mistake. You have ShiauC going too deep, realizing it's a mistake. And then in the end, I mean, they found the advantage, they found the engage, and they just set up for this Aphelios to do work.
I mean, you see, I know they set up for these fellas to do work, but even towards that last fight just there, you saw the Moonlight Vigil. That was Puff aggressively flashing forward to get it. So I don't care what anyone says about the Karma mid and everything like that. He earned that pentakill. He was just obliterating health bars right from the get-go. So I think it was thoroughly deserved and well done to him. And like we said, an MVP performance and of course a pentakill. You gotta keep this lineup right, at least until Sunday for the side of IG, and see how you kind of move forward with it, because that just felt like a much more natural IG progression rather than what we've seen so far with Link and Lucas.
I do want to say though, this is only one series sample size, so it's really hard to compare the two. I feel like the IG with Link and Lucas looked more like structured. This one looked a bit more chaotic, but hey, in the end it worked.